Titanfall is currently on sale. I've never played it before, but I've heard some really great things, and I can get it for like 10 bucks or maybe even less. Is it really worth buying? Is it worth my time to get? My name is Frothy, guys. I'm a Titanfall YouTube person, I guess. I've made lots and lots of videos about Titanfall ever since it first came out, ranged from guides to montages, blah blah blah. You guys don't really care. Point is, I have over 1,000 hours in this game. I've played for a very long time, and I'd like to give you my subjective kind of opinions on whether or not the game is worth it for you as a new potential buyer while the game is on sale. Let's get started. I'm going to start off with a little bit of discussion about the pilot gameplay as well as Titan gameplay, and then I guess the too long didn't watch version of this is that yes, I do recommend the game if you're getting it for $15 or less. I will also hit on DLC kind of stuff as well. First and foremost, Titanfall is definitely not Call of Duty with mechs. A lot of people have been saying that ever since the game's release, and quite frankly, as someone who has played both games rather extensively, that's not the case. Now, it is very similar in the fact that you have to aim down sights with your weapons in order to shoot accurately, both in Titanfall and Call of Duty. That's 100% true. Yes, there is a big similarity there. There's a similarity in that you have, custom class creation and that you have perks to an extent. All that stuff is very similar to Call of Duty. Yes, there are definitely influences from Call of Duty. Absolutely, cannot argue that. But the game is not a Call of Duty clone with just some different things added. The way that the game plays, the way that you move, the way that you interact with the world around you is very, very, very different on both a fundamental level and on a very advanced, very specific level as well. Titanfall is characterized by an overall longer time to kill than any Call of Duty game. Not a lot longer, but definitely a bit longer. But these are mostly exacerbated by the fact that in Titanfall you can move orders of magnitude faster than you could in a Call of Duty game. Engagements are happening at triple the distance that they would in Call of Duty. Like, for example, what you would consider a sniper rifle distance in Call of Duty is kind of like an assault rifle to SMG distance in Titanfall a lot of the times, if you're using the right SMG. But the ranges that you're fighting are far, far different. It's much more difficult to hit a person in Titanfall, so even though the times to kill are relatively similar, a little longer, but relatively similar, they feel much longer in this game. So you're not going to have those instant deaths like you have in Call of Duty, where you're always fighting the lag compensation more than you're fighting actual enemies. You put 4 bullets into a guy and then lag comp says, no, you only actually shot 1, and it wasn't enough, so you lost. Kills happen slowly enough in this game where that situation does not occur. It's actually who was better at aiming in every situation, not, who had the better lag and who turned the corner, and, it doesn't come down to that, which a lot of people are going to enjoy a whole lot. And this might just be, my own kind of personal observation. Maybe it's not completely rooted in fact, but I definitely feel like the player models in Titanfall are much smaller than they are in Call of Duty. Now, this might just also be a product of most fights happening much farther away, but when I play Call of Duty, if I pick up, and say in Advanced Warfare, I pick up an EM1 laser, I pick up a bell, whatever, and I get close to an enemy, I feel like they take up such a vast majority of my screen, with FOVs being the same and all that kind of stuff. And they're so easy to hit. But if I were to go to the same distance away from a person in Titanfall, they are nowhere near as bulky, they're nowhere near as huge. They're still they're still relatively easy to hit, don't get me wrong, if they're point blank, but they're a lot smaller than they are in Call of Duty, and it's less brain dead. And that is only exacerbated by distance. So, it's just harder to kill people in this game. You have to work harder for your kills than you would in Call of Duty, and a lot of people are going to enjoy that a whole lot, and I think that really separates the game from Call of Duty. In addition, you're not having stuff like proning, like dolphin diving or sliding or drop shotting is the big one that I was looking for there, where you don't have all this crazy stuff. It's just you're just running around on the ground, and you can wall run and parkour and and do a lot of crazy stuff, but it's not stupid like drop shotting. There's no proning, there's no camping, there's everything is offense all the time. Even if you're playing defense, you're still moving around. You're not going to sit in a corner very often. Unless you're in a highly competitive CTF match with arc mines sitting in a corner defending a flag, unless you're in that situation, you're always moving in Titanfall. You're always on the offensive for the most part. Even if you're a defensive player, you're still pushing aggressively. So just the overall tone and way in which you approach the gameplay is far different from Call of Duty. And we haven't even talked about the Titan gameplay yet. So that's all just the pilot stuff that we talked about. That's literally one half of the game that we have discussed. Titan gameplay is like something that I have not experienced in any other video game ever before. It's not like you would find in Mech Assault or Mech Warrior. It's not like something you would find in Chrome Hounds. It's not like something that you would find in Steel Battalion. The mech gameplay in this game, it's not like something that you would find in, what is that other, that Japanese arcadey one, Armored Core, I think it's called? The Titan gameplay, the giant mech gameplay in Titanfall plays like no other game ever before. It's something completely new. And it's very simple, very basic, but that's not a bad thing. It's very refined because it's basic, because you only have a choice of like 6 weapons with like 1 or 2 attachments each. You have 3 mechs to choose from, a few different choices of like a special ordnance, like a shoulder-mounted missile, which could be put on any kind of Titan, and a couple of perks, and then that's it. You know, you don't have these crazy amounts of customization and all that stuff, and a lot of people might be looking for that, but this is a competitive FPS. This is a game where we're not looking to min-max individual little point values, like I want to have 5% extra shields at the cost of 2% mobility or whatever, like your Call of Duty variants and weapons and stuff like that. You have all your base models. Everything is very tightly balanced. Everything is viable in just about any situation. You want to play a competitive match with an ogre? You can do that. You want to play a competitive match with a Strider or an Atlas with whatever weapon you want? You can pretty much do that for the most part, unless you are trying to be exceedingly stupid and just intentionally make something crappy. But it's very possible to be competitive with any Titan, with any weapon, with any combination of perks, as long as you apply it well and you are a good player behind those controls. And that's what's so great about the Titan gameplay in this game. Yes, it's simple to approach. Yes, it's easy to learn, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. In my opinion, the pilot gameplay and the Titan gameplay are so vastly different that it almost feels like you're playing 2 games in one. You know, if you're playing something like Pilot Skirmish, which is pilots only, there's no Titans involved, you're just playing 8 vs. 8 pilots only, it feels like a completely different game requiring massively different skill sets than you would need if you're playing something like LTS, which stands for Last Titan Standing. It's a 6 vs. 6 Titans only game mode where you only have 1 life, and if you lose your Titan, then you're done for the round. Just playing just those 2 game modes alone feels like you're playing 2 completely different games. Now, of course, you have your more standard game modes like Capture the Flag, Hardpoint, and Attrition, and Mark for Death, which is like a VIP game mode, which combine the 2, combine both pilot gameplay and Titan gameplay, and the way that those 2 intermix feels completely different than you would find in either of those polar opposite game types that I had listed before. So really, it almost feels like you're playing multiple games in one. And if you ever are getting frustrated with playing one certain kind of way, like you're just not doing well, you can very easily just match into a completely different base play style. And you can play a completely different game on the same maps that you know and love, and all of a sudden it's like you're playing something totally different and you're having fun all over again. I have a whole lot of enjoyment from that. You know, if I have a bad day as a Titan, then you know what, I can just say, forget Titans, I just want to kill stuff as a pilot, and I can go kill stuff as a pilot, or vice versa. It's great. So if you're getting this game for like 10 or 15 bucks, it's almost more prudent to think of yourself as getting 2 games for the price of 1 at this price point. You know, like if you don't like one half of the gameplay, then you don't have to play it. You can play something else. And this isn't even to mention the fact that we have Frontier Defense now, which is like the co-op mode. So you have 4-player co-op, where it's just 4 players versus wave after wave of enemy AI. And they get progressively harder. Different maps have higher difficulty ratings and all that kind of stuff. So even if you're not so much of a competitive player, if you're able to get this game for like 10 bucks, just the 4-player co-op mode just by itself is actually, I would say, worth the 10 bucks. It's actually fun. You get a lot of the Titanfall experience. You know, you get the full range of pilot weapons and Titan weapons at your disposal, and you can use them however you see fit in a less threatening environment, in an environment where you're just there to have fun, and you're there to see, you know, to get 3 of your friends together and just to have a good time. And it's great even just for that. You don't even need to play the competitive stuff, which I've been talking about for the past like 7 minutes now. And I'm trying to be as unbiased as I possibly can be here when I tell you this, that if you're able to get this game on sale for like $15 or less, I know it's been on sale for as low as like $5, I think, maybe 8 or something like that. It's been very, very cheap. It's very, very much worth the price. Yes, the servers are still alive. Yes, the game is still alive. No, it's not dead. Unless maybe you're in Australia, then it's kind of difficult. But I've heard rumors that the Australia servers are back on the rise lately. But if you're in the US or Canada, or especially even Europe, you are going to do a very great job if you buy this game in terms of finding server population. There are plenty of people still playing the game. There is kind of actually a small renaissance occurring right now because everyone's buying the game on sale and giving it a shot who never tried it before. I very strongly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. You're not going to struggle to find games. Just go get it and go play it and have a lot of fun. Now, if you're interested in the DLC in particular, that's kind of a more squishy topic. I think that the first and second DLC packs are very good. The maps in them are generally pretty solid. They're pretty fun. They play very well in both casual and competitive play. But the third map pack is, to be completely honest, it's kind of crap. It's pretty bad. All the maps in there are terrible, in my opinion. The only one that's decent is called Zone 18, and it's kind of a stretch to even say that one's particularly great. So if you're able to get like the season pass, I would just go for it because, you know, you get everything for a discounted price. But if you are on the fence, or let's say you only are wanting to buy maybe one of the 3 map packs, if I had to pick one, I would say map pack number 1 is probably your best bet. That comes with War Games as well as Runoff, which are 2 of my favorite maps in the entire game. They're very solid, very fun. I very strongly recommend that you give those a shot. But anyways, guys, I think that's about all I've got for you today. Thank you for watching. I hope that you've learned something new about Titanfall that you didn't know before. Hope you enjoyed all the gameplay. It's just kind of a little smattering of some of my favorite moments that I've gotten over the months I've played the game and all that kind of cool stuff. So, you know, if you guys were convinced to buy the game, let me know. If not, or you want to hear something else, or you need a little bit more convincing, let me know in the comments section down below. I'm more than happy to discuss the game with you and, you know, try to convince you, you know, is it worth your money, yes or no? And, you know, I'm not going to just try and force it on you. If you don't really, you know, if you're not really feeling it after I try to convince you, then that's fine. That's totally cool. That's why I'm here, is to try and, you know, just try and help you guys out and spend your Christmas dollars as effectively as you can. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.